Mrs. Whitney, please.
Oh, wait. Close the door. Please.
I want to talk to you, Mrs. Whitney.
You can't take him. I won't let you.
I'm not going to take him. I want to talk to you, that's all.
Jeff, quiet. Now, come on.
Where's she going? I don't know. She's coming back. She wants to put the dog in the other room.
I want you to shut the door and let me alone.
You don't seem to understand the seriousness of this, Mrs. Whitney.
You want to take Jeff away.
I don't want to take him away.
He's all we've got. Jeff's all we've got. We have no family, just Jeff, that's all.
I'm not going to take him away. I just have to give you this notice. Singleton.
Oh, yes, sir. Here it is.
I want you to take this, Mrs. Whitney.
No, I won't.
It's a notice to deliver your dog to the ASPCA by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Well, I'll take it, but I won't deliver him. I won't. You can't have him. He's the only thing I've got left. The only thing.
All right. Let's shut the door. Thank you, Mrs. Whitney.
I won't.
Do you think she will bring that dog down there? I don't.
She's been served with the notice. Okay, Singleton, get back on the job.
Yes, sir. People can live in a building 20 years, and you never know they ever existed. 20 years.
Hit that elevator bell, will you, Singleton?
Yes, sir. Then a little thing like this can cause so much trouble.
It's always the little things that cause trouble, Mr. Tedburn. People seem to manage the big ones. We rode down in the elevator. I thanked Mr. Tedburn for his assistance and came out of the building with Singleton. He resumed walking his post, and I got into the car and went back to the precinct house. There, as the officer who served the 480V form on Mrs. Whitney, I filled in the lower half and delivered it to the desk officer to be forwarded to the Bureau of Preventable Diseases, Department of Health. Sergeant Burns told me that Patrolman Mercado had come upon a boy, 17, in the act of turning in a false alarm. He chased him up the stairs of a tenement and over the roofs of 3 adjacent buildings before he was apprehended. The boy admitted turning in at least 5 false alarms during the last month. I went on patrol of the precinct, during which I stopped on post number 2, saw Patrolman Mercado, and congratulated him on the arrest. Later, while I was still on patrol, there was a radio signal to call in. He stopped at the nearest box, and I was told by Sergeant Klein that a visitor was waiting for me, Judge Charles Whitney. I had my operator drive me around to the precinct house. When I got out of the car, I instructed him to pick up his partner, who had been taking his meal period, and resume patrol. As the car drove away, I crossed the sidewalk and walked up into the muster room. Hello, Sergeant.
Captain. 21st Precinct, Sergeant
Where's
Klein.
the judge?
I suggested the judge wait in your office, Captain.
Good.
All right.
Oh, what's doing, Sergeant?
Oh, it's been a quiet tour, Captain.
All right, I'll be in my office.
Yes, sir. 21st Precinct, Sergeant Klein. Over in the what?
Judge Whitney?
Oh, hello, Captain. We've met before, haven't we?
Yes, I think so, at some dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Well, sit down, Judge.
Thank you. I just got into LaGuardia from Boston an hour ago.
Yes, sir, I know.
I understand you were over to the apartment, Captain.
Yes, that's right. We were there, and I'm sorry if we found it necessary to be a little insistent with Mrs. Whitney, but I don't have to tell you the law in these dog bite cases, Judge. If I wasn't able to effect service the way I did, I would have been required to get a warrant and break the door down. I hope you were able to explain that to Mrs. Whitney.
Captain, I haven't been able to explain anything to Mrs. Whitney. She wouldn't open the door for me either.
Wouldn't she?
No. I came home from the airport and went upstairs and tried my key, and she had the chain on the door. Wouldn't open it. Wouldn't even talk to me. Building manager came upstairs and told me what had happened.
Well, I'm sorry, Judge.
Well, it's not your fault, Captain. I don't blame you. I should have seen it coming. Perhaps I even knew it was coming, and I couldn't bring myself to believe it.
What's that, sir?
A breakdown. I should have seen it the night I left for Boston. It was the same night that Jeff bit the child.
Oh?
Hey, he's a boxer, you know, so we named him James J. Jeffries, Jeff for short.
Mm-hmm.
I told her before I left that she would probably be called upon to deliver the dog for observation. And I should have seen from her attitude then that this was going to happen. I was in a hurry to catch the plane. She was all right until then. I understand she was fine when the dog bit the child, that she took the mother and the child to the emergency room, paid the bill, so forth.
Yes, that's the report we got, too.
But the minute I mentioned the possibility she might have to turn Jeff over for observation, she changed.
What was the reason for the change, you know, Judge?
Yes, I do. I think I do. See, Captain, we had 2 sons, Richard and Charles, Jr. They were a year and a half apart, 19 and 20. They were in school at Yale. Last June, they were driving down to New York after school. Their car turned over on the Merritt Parkway. They were both killed. Both of them.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Judge.
If you have children of your own, you can imagine what it did to us. We went away, but that didn't help. Nothing helped. For myself, I found escaping my work. A judge can work hard, you know, and I did. But Nora didn't have anything like work. I suppose she turned to the dog. Jeff was the boy's dog. When she saw the possibility that she'd lose the dog, that brought it on. I'm sure that's the answer.
Well, it probably is, yes, sir.
Wouldn't even open the door. She doesn't even trust me.
If I'd have known what the circumstances were, perhaps we could have used some other means.
There wasn't any way for you to know, Captain. I'm not worried about that now. She's locked up in there alone. That's what I'm worried about. I don't know what's preying on her mind.
Well, if you want to go into the apartment, Judge, I can call the emergency squad to give us a hand. They have a way with doors, you know.
But it's only as a last resort. No, I'd like to try persuasion some more. I had the door open this wide, the same as you did. I called to her. She wouldn't answer. I couldn't think of anything else to say or do. I came over here. Do you have any ideas, Captain, besides the emergency squad, I mean?
Well, perhaps I have one, just one. It might work. I don't know.
Anything, Captain. I'm willing to try anything.
Judge Whitney was a forlorn-looking man as I left him sitting in my office and walked out into the muster room. I gave Sergeant Klein instructions to have a car drive around to the precinct house to pick us up. Also, I told him to have sector car number 1 go to the home of Harold Weald, the father of the dog bite victim. They were instructed to locate Mr. Weald and ask if he would accompany them to 190 Sutton Place North. The car came by to drive Judge Whitney and myself to his apartment house. We rode the elevator to the 14th floor in silence.
Is this way, Captain?
Yes, I know.
Oh, of course you do. Well,
I'd suggest you try your key again, Judge.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Still on the chain. Nora! Nora!
Why don't you try calling the dog? If he comes to the door, maybe she will, too.
Yes, that's a good idea. Jeff, boy. Hey, Jeff. Hey, Jeff. Hey, Jeff. Come on, Jeff. Usually comes when I call him, Captain.
Well, I think she has him in the back with the door closed. That's where she had him before.
Nora. Please come to the door, Nora. Please. Nora. That be any use, Captain.
Let me try.
Mrs. Whitney. Mrs. Whitney. Now, that way to your right.
One of the men, Captain.
Oh, yeah.
Took us a little while to locate him, Captain. Hello, Captain.
Judge Whitney and Mr. Weald.
Hi.
How do you do?
Judge, Patrolman Singleton.
How do you do?
Pleased to know you, sir. He told me about all the trouble you've been having, Judge. I don't like to cause any trouble, but after all, my little girl...
I think it's the other way around as far as trouble being caused is concerned, Mr. Weald. Now, don't worry about that. Well, I think you better call the emergency squad, Captain. This isn't going to do any good.
Try again, Judge. Once more.
All right. Nora. Nora, please come to the door, Nora. Nora.
I think she's coming.
Please, close the door, Charles.
Let me in, Nora. You've got to.
Close the door and go away,
Sweetheart, now, please.
I'm not going to let you in. You're part of the law, too. You're on their side.
Mrs. Whitney.
Close the door, please.
This is Mr. Weald. He's the father of the little girl.
Oh, how is she?
She's all right, I think, ma'am.
I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry. Jeff never bitten anyone before. I think it was an accident. I think he was just trying to get that red ball she was playing with. Just the red ball. He's a very good dog, really.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you sure she's all right?
We hope she'll be all right. She has to take 22 injections.
22 injections? Why?
Because we can't get Jeff to see that he doesn't have rabies.
Oh, Jeff doesn't have rabies. You know he doesn't.
We have to make sure, ma'am. That's the law.
I don't want to hear about the law. That's all I ever hear about.
You don't want that little 4-year-old girl to go through 22 injections, do you, Mrs. Whitney?
Oh, no. That'd be a shame.
Well, it's up to you.
It's not up to me. Jeff doesn't have rabies. Anybody can see that. Anybody.
When were you told to bring your little girl to the Department of Health, Mr. Wheel?
Tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock.
All 22 at once?
No, ma'am. It takes 22 days.
Oh, no. Poor little girl.
Now, nothing will happen to Jeff, Mrs. Whitney. Believe me. They'll take good care of him. You'll have him back.
They'll keep him. They'll take him away from me, just like everything else. 22 injections.
That's right.
And she's such a little girl. How old is she?
4.
Yes, 4. That's right. She was crying and her leg hurt her. With those little curls with a ribbon. I remember those little curls with a ribbon. I never had a little girl. I always wanted one. Not 22 injections.
Yes, ma'am. 22.
Please close the door.
Mrs. Whitney.
Please close the door. I can't get the chain off if you don't close the door.
Yes, ma'am.
What's she waiting for?
All right. Take it easy.
Sweetheart, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
There's a lot to be sorry about, isn't there? So much.
Thank you, Mrs. Whitney.
Nothing to thank me for. Jeff's in there in the bedroom.
I'll see that he gets where he has to go, Captain.
Good.
Young man?
Me?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, Mrs. Whitney.
Watch her. Watch her every minute. Every minute of your life.
Yes, ma'am.
Because without her, you won't have any life.
"21st Precinct, Sergeant Klein. He jumped, or he's going to jump? Where is he? On a ledge? Where is it? East 71?
And so it goes, around the clock, through the week, every day, every year. A police precinct in the city of New York is a flesh and blood merry-go-round. Anyone can catch the brass ring, or the brass ring can catch anyone.
21st Precinct, a factual account of the way the police work in the world's largest city, is presented with the official cooperation of the Patrolmen's Benevolent Association, an organization of more than 20,000 members of the Police Department, City of New York. Everett Sloan in the role of Captain Kennelly. Featured in tonight's cast were Lawson Zerbe, Wendell Holmes, Bill Zuckert, Don McLaughlin, Barbara Weeks, Bill Lipton, and Donald Bain. Written and directed by Stanley Niss. Gaylord Avery speaks.